Aloha and shalom, everyone. It's our first activation of 2022, and it's a new moon activation, so it's really got that energy of a new beginning on many levels. I'm really excited to be here with you guys tonight. Make sure you have your water, make sure you're comfortable, that you're warm, or you're cool if you're living in a hot place. Make sure you're just comfortable and ready. For those of you who have been coming week after week for like the last over 4 years, thank you, and welcome back to the activation portal. And for those of you who are new to the activation portal, just so you know, these videos don't actually have anything to do with the moon other than the fact that we use it as a measurement of time so that we can meet 4 times a month. In fact, the shape of the moon is reflecting something that's going on inside of us and within all things. Everything is a reflection of the original one. So the moon is a nice, simple map for us to understand what we ourselves are going through at any given time. And so just as an example, if you feel like you're undecided about something, you feel like you don't have clarity on a decision, chances are the full moon will be reflecting the truth that by that time you will have more clarity and you'll have more of the picture to be able to make the decision you need to make. Yay, it's so good to see you guys. So as usual, I'm tuning in from the awesome Sedona, Arizona. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. And I'm just gonna set up here while you all comment and let us know where in the world you are tuning in from. So the new moon is all about a new beginning. We're going through an initiation right now. A new lesson is coming up for us. And so when we pull these cards, it's going to give us a map so that we can best navigate this particular moment that we're experiencing. Hello, hello, everybody just tuning in. Let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. We have Canada in the house. We have Australia in the house, UK in the house, Sedona, Arizona in the house, Phoenix in the house. We got a few from Phoenix in here. We got South Carolina. We got Missouri. What's up, world? We got Illinois in the house. I'm gonna take out my Hebrew cards. We got Trinidad in the house. We got Washington in the house, North Carolina, Massachusetts, NYC, Oregon. Amazing. Michigan. Wow, it's so good to see you guys. Another North Carolina in the house. Awesome. So we're just uniting. Just think about this. Just close your eyes for one moment and imagine all of us on this planet, we're just lighting up the grid. Just do, do, do. One by one, our lights are turning on as we meet in this space to get activated together. What does it mean to be activated? What does that mean? Remember that these cards that have these archetypal themes, these archetypal characters, are representing different parts of our own mind. So when we talk about them, when we shed a light on them, when we bring our awareness to them, we are shining a light on those parts of our own mind. And because we're collective and we're doing this activation for the collective, you can actually see it as though we are lighting up the collective mind, the collective grid. It's like we're little lighthouses just lighting up the world right now. Florida's in the house. Another North Carolina in the house. What's up, North Carolina? You are lit tonight. So we're just lighthouses, you guys, lighting up the world. And so you can imagine that we're all coming together in one space. That is what's happening in one dimension, right? But you might want to close your eyes and use your imagination to envision us all in one room. Maybe we're all together in this room right here. Maybe you want to play with your imagination and imagine that you are shrinking and then jumping into the deck. Whatever you want to do to connect. Everything is mine, so use your imagination. It's up to you to connect. We got West Virginia in the house. All right, you guys, we're shuffled and ready to go. So I just want to say thank you to the archetypes, Faces of the One, in advance for bringing us this message tonight that's going to help us through the week. And if there's any group that you're a part of that you think would appreciate this video, go ahead and share it now while we're live. If you have a family member or a friend who's on Facebook and you think that this could help them, please go ahead and share it live. If not, it's okay. The recording will be loaded to YouTube and Instagram after, just in case there's someone special you're thinking of who's not here on Facebook. And so the activation will be available from all of these different platforms. But while we're live, let's get them in the portal. Maybe there's somebody who doesn't necessarily, you think maybe they don't need this message right now, but maybe they can help enhance it. Because the message that comes through is a reflection of all of our energies that are present right now, bringing it in. So we're doing the work together. All right, you guys. Again, thank you to the archetypes, Faces of the One, parts of us, parts of the One of which we are all a part. Thank you for bringing us this map so that we can gracefully navigate the current times in the week ahead. So we're approaching this new beginning. New moon is reflecting there's a new beginning happening. What's the new lesson? What's the new challenge right now? Which is also the gift. As we ace the challenge, it is alchemized into the gift. What is that? What's something that is a fear that we're carrying that it doesn't necessarily mean we have to track where this fear came from, but what is the face, the archetype that represents the fear, which represents the energy that is weighing us down, something that's limiting us from being fully present to progress. And remember, nothing is outside of divine order. Everything is the Creator's directive. So whatever this fear is, have no fear of the fear. Be excited to reveal it, because the block is always there for a reason, and it's always unveiled at the perfect moment. And so with our conscious awareness, we are calling in that process here now to reveal the force that has been limiting us. And then with the Hebrew letters, which work the same way as the tarot, we will pull an ally. Whew. So the challenge of the week is, why do we always start off with such a powerful, this group is very powerful. This activation portal is very powerful, obviously. So we're starting off with the major arcanum cards, which means it's one of the most powerful cards of the deck. It's called the Chariot, and in ancient Egypt is known as the Conqueror. It's card 7. So if you look to the cards before and after it, it will give you an idea of really what this part of the process represents. The card before it, 6, you might know it as the Lovers. In ancient Egypt, it's called the Two Paths. 6 is about, not necessarily about romance at all, which is why I prefer the name the Two Paths. It's about a choice point. It's about making a decision. It's about a challenge. And the challenge leads to the Chariot. The degree to which we will grow, expand, be successful, and I mean all the way through to the spiritual realm, real success, sustainable success. The degree to which we reach that level is dependent upon the choices we make right now and the challenges we go through right now. How we respond, how we handle them will reveal to us the level of ascension that we're ready to achieve. Right away, something I see that if this is the challenge of the week, it's saying that it's time to really pay attention, look closely within and all around our inner reality and our outer reality, and ask ourselves, how are we setting ourselves up for success or not? How are we not setting up ourselves for success? Have our thoughts and our words and our actions been carefully chosen lately? Have we been carefully choosing our thoughts, words, and actions? And how potent are they with intention? How clear are our thoughts, words, and actions reflecting a positive intention, a well thought out intention? We're either setting ourselves up for success or we're not. And perhaps when we examine what we've been thinking, saying, and doing lately, we'll see that, wow, I subconsciously have been setting up myself for success and I didn't even realize it. And you know what happens? Even if you have been, once you make that realization that you subconsciously have been, now you consciously can participate in that process and take it to the next level. So remember, the challenge is always experienced differently by all of us. Yes, we're all receiving this as a challenge this week, but we're all navigating it differently. So some of us experience the challenge of the week more on the challenging side, and some of us experience it more on the gift side, where we're already doing really well because we recognize the tools that we have within us to do it. And so I want to talk about what this is probably feeling like for people on both ends of the spectrum. What it feels like for those who are really feeling challenged right now is it feels like, gosh, I just can't get ahead. I just can't get past this point. I just can't get over this hump. I feel defeated. I don't feel like the conqueror. I feel like I'm being conquered. I feel like my path has become stagnant. I've come to a plateau. I don't know how to keep going. And then for those who are experiencing it more on the gift side, it's looking like, yeah, I'm acing these challenges. I'm going through really difficult things right now, but I'm staying up. I'm staying on top. I'm rising above it all. I'm aware that there will always be ups and downs in life. The fall to rise again. But I have now locked in an attitude of gratitude to the point where no matter what I'm going through, I feel like I'm growing through it. So how are you walking your path right now? Are you trudging along? Or are you growing? Are you expanding? Okay, so if this is the challenge of the week, it's asking us to look at ourselves, look at our lives, and ask, how can I set myself up for success? We talked about the 6 before, which is challenge. The fork in the road. And then we have this card, the Chariot, where we landed after those decisions we made. What comes after the 7 is the 8, balance, justice. So what does that mean? Once we get through this part, we end up at that part. So what that's saying is whatever success we're aiming for, whatever our goals are, once we achieve them, how will that bring us into more of a state of balance? Because ultimately that's the greatest goal, is balance, always. And there's no just achieving it and then it's done. We have to keep going. Life is a balancing act. It's a balance of effort and surrender constantly. And so what I'm seeing is now is a time to really ask ourselves, to look at our goals, ask what our definition of success is. What are we really trying to conquer? But the lower aspects of ourselves, our own lower nature. Start there. Don't think about just the material world first and say, oh, I want this thing or I want that thing. I want to achieve this or that. Ask, what do you want to achieve on a spiritual level? What kind of growth are you looking to achieve right now as far as psychologically or spiritually? And then from there, when you come out of that meditation, open your eyes, look around and ask yourself, how am I choosing a life in this material realm, setting my life up in this material realm to help me achieve those deeper goals of growth? Because then you'll know which job to take, which project to be invested in, which relationships to be a part of. Then you'll know. Only when you have a really solid sense of a spiritual and psychological goal. How do you need to grow right now? In what ways does your soul want to grow right now? And it's always about the virtues, okay? Always about the virtues. And thank goodness, because it helps to simplify all of this. So ask yourself, start there, ask, Have I been honest? Have I been patient? Have I been kind? Have I been peaceful? Have I been supportive? Because we all carry vices. We all give in to that lower nature, and that's fine because that's where the work is and that's where the excitement is. So ask yourself, where have you been embodying more vice than virtue? What virtues do you need to cultivate more? Because that is the light. All of the different virtues make up the one all-virtuous light of compassion. Compassion contains them all. So what part of that light are you needing to cultivate more of right now? And really solidify your knowing of which virtue it is you're needing to embody right now. And really it's always all of them, right? But you know which ones are going to come up right away. You know if you've been dishonest, if you've been impatient, if you've been less than supportive, if you've been having, anger blow-ups. You know what it is. No one knows better than you. So then once you determine, all right, I'm going to work on honesty right now. I'm going to work on patience right now. Whatever it is. Then come back to reality and ask yourself, how can I utilize my relationships, my job, my living situation, my current life situation to help me cultivate more of the light of that particular virtue of choice? You can say, I want to do all the virtues, but it does help to pick one to focus on at a time. Stay aware, of course, when there are opportunities to cultivate other virtues as you walk your path. But choosing one really helps you to focus and meditate on a particular part of the light of compassion. And they all lead there. All of the virtues lead there. Okay, so ask yourself, what am I really trying to conquer right now? It's not about the outside world. It's what's going on inside. I want to conquer that anger. I want to conquer that impatience. I want to conquer that desire to be dishonest. And the ego is going to come up and it's going to try to justify holding on to all of the vices. It's going to try to justify holding on to all of those things that are actually making you weak and holding you down. But it's going to give you every excuse. It's going to say, hey, I know you really want to be more patient, but how can we be patient when this guy that, or this lady this, or my boss did this, or my kid did that? The more the justification, the more you need to stay sharp and present to be on your mission, to make sure that you fight with all you've got to conquer that lower nature and rise above it. Okay, so the challenge of the week is asking, how can we grow? How can we set ourselves up for growth right now? Maybe you're already growing. Maybe you already feel great. How can you maximize the potential? We never want to become complacent. We never want to say, okay, I'm done now. Okay, you're growing, great. How can you be more aware of the growth that's taken place? How can you pause and give thanks for the growth that's taken place? And remember, this is a new moon, new beginning. A lot of you are celebrating the new year. Remember, each moment is new. So how can you really sit with this knowing that in each moment is the opportunity to start fresh and take advantage of that right here, right now? It's time for me to grow. I'm not going to become comfortable because it's outside of our comfort zone that we actually grow. Okay, so let's look at the next card, the hidden fear, which is going to show us maybe something that's limiting us from moving ahead with this. Another major arcanum card? This is also one of the most powerful cards of the deck. Okay, you guys, so the two tarot cards that we pulled out of this 3-card reading, the third card is a Hebrew letter. The two we pulled out of this whole deck are really powerful cards, trump cards. Okay, so this is the Tower. It's also known as the Lightning in ancient Egypt. It's card number 16. And I love the name the Lightning because the name the Lightning actually refers to the most important part of this archetypal theme of this card. See the lightning at the top there? It's the force, the light of all creation, the force that comes in to reset the pattern. It's both the destroyer and the creator. Okay, so it's the original pattern that comes in to reset. It's like you could see this top of the tower, that crown is like the false crown, the crown of the ego, and it's being knocked off, and the true light with the original code of creation is coming in and resetting everything. And the tower is all about turn of events, rug pulled out from under you. But remember, you have nothing to fear because there is only one here. You wrote the script and you're still writing it right now. There's no one that isn't you. So do we ever really need to fear a turn of events, the rug being pulled out from under us, when it's ourselves pulling it out? We don't have to be afraid, but what we can do to make this more graceful, to make it a little more comfortable. I mean, life is going to get uncomfortable and we can't be afraid of that, but we can sort of hold our own hand through the process. And we can take the wheel. And instead of allowing this to feel like the rug is being pulled out from under us, victimizing ourselves, saying, oh no, this turn of events. Instead, we can say, you know what? I am ready for any turn of events that needs to take place on my path. I am ready to be redirected in any moment because while I am fully, being fully spirit embodied and I'm fully in this experience, I'm fully present, I'm also healthily detached. Understanding that what I am, consciousness, light, eternal love, I am way beyond this form, this body. And I'm not going to all of a sudden when my life takes a turn, I'm not going to pretend like I'm not that. I'm not going to all of a sudden forget who I am. I'm not going to all of a sudden forget that everything is Creator's directive. I'm not going to all of a sudden forget everything that I've been preaching, that I've been knowing, that I've been feeling. I'm not going to throw my faith and my trust in divine order in the garbage. When things take a turn of events, maybe at first I might freak out for a second, but I'm going to remember this. And it's going to get easier every time life does this. I'm going to remember, hey, it's me. I wrote this. I wrote this script. I did this. And it's okay. And whatever path I was walking in that has now been destroyed, just completely washed away, I'm going to know that it's in my surrender and acceptance that helps to create a more easy and graceful transition to the path that I'm supposed to be on anyway. And I know that the more I resist that turn of events, the more I'm just being silly. Because there's only one here. There must be some part of me, for sure the highest part of me, that has always known this was coming. And so I'm going to stay self-aware and I'm going to observe myself. And when things seem to fall apart or not go the way that I expected, I'm going to remember there's only one I, and although there was a part of me that had this expectation, the larger part of me ultimately trusts in the order, the divine order of all things. And so to me, it's very obvious what's going on here. By the way, I just want to point out that this is 7, this is 16, 1 plus 6 is 7. This card reduces to a 7. And I've said this many times in these videos, that when you have a double-digit card and you reduce it to a single digit, it shows you it shows you the keynote of that card, okay? So this card, the Tower, is actually the evolutionary unfolding of the Chariot. Why? What does that even mean? It's saying that when we grow, when we rise above the challenge, when we transcend our lower nature, things gonna happen. Things gonna fall apart. All the things that were fabricated upon your lower nature, thoughts, words, and actions, they were all temporary. They were not sustainable. They were not built upon truth. And so they fall. Okay, they fall. And these right here are representing your polarities, the polar forces within you, your masculine and feminine, active and receptive, being liberated. Yeah, it looks like they're falling from the tower. Yikes, right? But it's actually those parts of you that are now free, liberated. And the Torah story of this week, because we just had Shabbat, the Torah story is Va'era, and it's all about Moses approaching Pharaoh and saying, let my people go. And when you understand the Torah from a Kabbalistic perspective, and you see all these different characters as aspects of the same one, that is you, you can see that Pharaoh and Moses is a conversation between our ego and our higher self. And so Moses saying to Pharaoh, let my people go, is actually a metaphorical story for that higher part of ourselves that says to the ego, you gotta release that. Let it go. It's time. And the ego says, no. And then so things start to fall apart, right? Represented by the plagues, right? The plagues in this Torah story are representing the towers that fall, the horrible things that happen as our negative karma, the uncomfortable results of our egoic choices. So right now, it's a time for us to really dig deep, call in our higher awareness and dig deep to find those parts of us that our ego has been protecting, that our ego has been keeping alive out of fear, and to say, you got to let that go. Okay, so looking at these together, this is the challenge of the week, and this is the fear, the thing holding us back. We will grow when we let go of the fear. We will rise, we will transcend, we will reach new heights. We will come to a place of clearer self-reflection, clearer self-realization, clearer self-actualization. When we can stop being afraid of the unexpected, afraid of the unknown. You can't say, yeah, I really want to grow and be my best self, but simultaneously be holding on to an old version of yourself. How can you build one house on top of the other? One tower falls so another can rise. You can't in one breath say that you want to change and be the best you, but be unwilling to give up your negative ways of thinking, your negative ways of speaking, your negative ways of behaving. And something I'm seeing very clearly is that a lot of us right now have been feeling like, yeah, I really want to grow. I really want to grow. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to grow. And we're so focused on that we're not remembering that the growth happens within the challenge. Through the challenge comes the growth. We have to go through it to get to the other side. So you can't just be saying, yeah, I want to grow, I'm ready to grow, but then you're just wasting all your time saying that, repeating that, instead of turning to face yourself, your own reflection, and look within and go, okay, well, what things am I still thinking? What words am I still speaking? What actions am I still taking? What habits am I still carrying that are keeping me stuck in the old world? You have to be willing to let go of everything. You have to be willing to let go of relationships, projects, situations that you've been heavily invested in. Remember, the universe doesn't put out the net until you jump. The more you trust, the more your reality will reflect that. The more you fear and contract, the more your reality will reflect that. So really ask yourself, what's that quote? It's like, we're not afraid of our weaknesses. We're actually afraid of our strengths. We're actually afraid to shine because we're not used to that. It's unknown. So we might say we want to grow, but then there's a part of us that's holding on to what's comfortable. Because we're afraid. We're just afraid of the unknown. So how can you look at ways in which you may have been in denial of this fear? What things, what situations are you holding on to? And better yet, what situations, what relationships, what projects are you ready to let go of to make space for that change you say you're ready for? Don't be afraid of what has to happen. And then I'm seeing that there are some of us that are ready for the change, yes, and we're being honest with ourselves, yes, and we're not denying anything, yes, but how can we initiate this change to an even clearer degree? And what I mean by that is, maybe we are ready for things to fall apart. Maybe we are ready for that major turn of events, but have you really been affirming it? Have you been saying it out loud? Have you been staying laser focused on this idea that, wow, I'm about to enter this initiation, like I'm about to go through this, it's about to happen. You got to carry that knowing. You got to feel it in your bones. So there are those of us who are absolutely ready, and you're at that start line right there. But it's about taking the first step. It's about really declaring with your fullest being, I'm ready, let the tower fall. Let it fall. Let everything just fall away. Whatever isn't real, goodbye. And saying things like this is very helpful. Affirmations like this are very helpful. They actually get the process going. And I want to share with you something that I'm seeing. What's before and after the tower is the devil, 15. Then you have 16 tower, 17 the star. So what we're experiencing fear of is fear of letting go of whatever it is we've cultivated out of that devil, out of that misalignment, that place where we've not been in touch with our highest self, that place where we've been maybe making mistakes or giving our energies to the wrong sources. Whatever has come of that, that's what needs to be let go of now. Even if your ego tries to justify it and say, well, we're not doing that bad habit anymore, so can't we, keep the things that we got out of that habit? But for example, let's say you were doing something wrong to make money, okay? That was your devil that you recently went through. Now that you're aware of it, you need to neutralize that energy. So whatever you bought with that dirty money, for example, you want to really look at that. Maybe it's time to donate to charity. Maybe it's time to buy something for someone in need with that money that you wrongfully acquired. And that's just one very obvious example. We have to dig deep inside of ourselves. Maybe not even that deep. Maybe it's right there at the surface. We need to be honest with ourselves and ask, what have I been, what have my mistakes been lately? And where have they brought me? And wherever they have brought me, that's what I need to be ready to let go of to create space for the new. Okay, so look at what's around you right now. How is what's around you a result of the negative behaviors you've been giving into? You're awake now, you're aware. You're ready to stop those behaviors, yes, and the way to neutralize the effects of them, because you can't just stop them, you now need to neutralize, you need to come back to balance, okay? So the way to neutralize them is to look at your reality and ask, how can I use what's right here, right now, to neutralize those negative effects? And how could I use what's around me right now to return to my true self? Because after 16 comes 17, the star. When the tower falls, when all that's not real falls, we come back to the star, which is the light inside of you. You are the star. And by the way, 17, the star, when you reduce it to a single digit, it's 8. Balance. And remember, we just talked about that when we did this card. The success leads to balance. And when the tower falls, it leads to the star. When we conquer that lower aspect of self and it falls away, we return to balance, okay? So the 7 to the 8 is the same as the 16 to the 17. It's an evolution of that. Secrets of the tarot. Okay, so think of that. And if any fear comes up in you when you're like, oh, I guess this relationship is gonna have to go now. I guess this project is gonna have to go now. I guess I'm gonna have to say goodbye to X, Y, or Z. You can feel more inspiration to do it. You can feel more accepting of it when you remember that what happens after that is beautiful. What happens after the release, the surrender, the acceptance is the whole reason you're doing it anyway. So remind yourself, I'm going through this so that I can come back to myself, the star. Oh gosh, well that feels good. Now let it all burn away. Let it all fall. Because I'm only fooling myself if I try to cling to it and keep rebuilding this tower that has no foundation. So remember, things are falling apart so that better things can come together. Things are falling apart so that you can return to your true self. Let go. It's more than okay. It's necessary and it's inevitable. So why wait for the rug to be pulled out from under you if it's you who's the one doing it all anyway? Do it now. Knock it down. With your conscious awareness, with your willingness to return home to yourself. This is the ally for the week, and it's the letter Chet. And if you want to look it up, you can spell it C-H-E-T on Google, Chet. Okay? And I'm going to show you guys how this all ties in together. Okay, we had 7, we had 16. We spoke about balance. We spoke about the 17 after making 8. The chet is the 8th letter in the aleph bet. Okay, it's the letter that is connected to the balance, aka justice card in the tarot. The symbol for the chet is a gate. And I love this. I love connecting the Hebrew letter and the hieroglyphic symbol to the tarot card as well, because when you do that, it opens up the picture. It unlocks deeper initiations within this particular part of the story. So the chet is the 8th letter. It's about balance. We just spoke about that this whole time. Need I say more? It's saying, whatever we're conquering, make sure, we said this in the beginning, make sure that it's something that, it's a part of our lower nature that we need to conquer, that we need to rise above to come back to a greater state of balance. The tower falls. What's not real, what's unsustainable falls, so that we can return to the light inside, the only thing that's eternally sustainable, the light. And that light that's shining from your heart, that light that illuminates your being and your aura and ultimately the world, is a reflection of inner balance, right? You've heard this before. When there's harmony within, there's harmony without. When a person is balanced in their polarities, they shine. That's the star inside each one of us. And the hieroglyphic symbol for the chet is like a gate. Think about it. It's like the 2 doors that open up to the heart. It's like the Ark of the Covenant, right? The gate. It's like left, right, above and below. The gate reveals the center. What does the gate protect anyway? The center, the heart. Just like the high priestess, she's a gatekeeper. What is she protecting? The high priestess is all about the mother and father within and that balance. She's the keeper of that balance. And that mother and father are the 2 that make up the one which is inside of your heart. So the chet, as our ally this week, is saying, remember what you're really trying to conquer. Don't look first to the material world. That's the world of effects. Look to the world of causes. What about your mental nature or your spiritual nature are you trying to refine? How are you trying to grow psychologically and spiritually? What do you need to conquer about yourself? Which vices do you need to conquer to come back into balance? How can you enter that gate? How can you reach your own heart? What is the work you need to do right now to enter the gates of heaven? Heaven is, right, you can think of it as a metaphorical place where all the light of the virtues, the light of compassion reigns free. What do you need to do to get through those gates, to unlock the gate of the heart? How can you remember this week, using the force of the ally, how can you do your best to remember that the tower needs to fall so that we can open up the gate to get back to the heart, the star, the light within? In order to enter the chet, the gates, this has to fall. It's in the way of the gate. It's in the way. It's in the way. This fear, right? This was the card that we pulled for our hidden fear. Well, fear no more. I'm not afraid of this tower falling. Bring it on. Can you please get it out of the way? I'm ready to enter the gate. Fear, I don't fear that. Let's get on with it already so that I can come back to my own heart. Okay, so this has been our fear. Afraid of a big change. But now that we've brought it up and brought it into the light and together are looking at it, examining it, and rationalizing it with our intuition and our logic, we are now able to understand that the thing we feared was just there to show us what we need to do, what we need to get out of the way to find ourselves at the gate of the heart. And we'll only be able to unlock that gate, to open that gate, to pass through to the heart, depending on the work we're doing this week. Okay, so remember the Chariot, the Conqueror this week. Really stay present with this one and ask yourself as you move through the week ahead, how am I setting myself up for success? And how am I being really clear with my definition of success in reflection of my need to conquer my lower nature, my need to conquer those vices, to rise above the vices. My goal as the conqueror this week should be to conquer whatever vice I've been carrying, whatever vices I've been carrying. And the degree to which I conquer that lower nature will be equal to the degree to which I can reach my truest self, embody my highest light. So that when I once and for all get rid of this fear, I'll knock down that tower, get rid of whatever has been in the way. And when I find myself at the gate, it'll open right up like an automatic gate. Like at a fancy house when the gate just beep and it opens up like that. Because you will be so attuned to the truth. You'll just go right through. Okay, so something I'm seeing is we have to remember, this is the challenge of the week, right? We have to remember that what we really want is maybe not what we've been telling ourselves. It's not the car or the house or whatever. What's behind that we're really wanting? What is really satisfying to the soul? Set those goals and reach them this week. And your efforts will be matched by the universe. That's why this map is coming up right now. It's very specific. Any cards could have been pulled. These ones are being pulled because it's giving us a very particular message. It's saying the universe and nature, all of life is supporting you right now to do this work. So whatever you do, we're going to match it. Like those days where like organizations will do charity days and they say, if you donate today, we'll match it. It's like that. That's what happens, you guys. When you're a cosmic Sherlock and you do these investigations and you do these readings, these activations, the universe supports this work. Okay, so refine those goals, conquer the lower nature, which will attune your frequency to the truth, which is behind that gate. What will help you do this is by letting go of any fear of what needs to fall away. That's ridiculous. We're not afraid. Bring it on. I know that in order to be my higher self, in order to rise to new heights, in order to ascend to new heights, I need to be more than just ready for the old tower to fall, for the old life to wash away. I need to be the one knocking it down with my conscious choice of thought, speech, and action. I need to be the one washing away my past little by little, and not just, getting rid of it to start anew, but working with what's there to create the new. Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. All this energy is just the same original energy, original light being reconfigured. So you don't have to, in fact, you shouldn't just walk away from your mess. You got to clean it up. It's in the cleanup that the new tower rises. You can use the rubble as material to build the next tower. In fact, the more you make use of those materials, of the mess you made, the more you are giving purpose to those materials, the more you are performing alchemy. Instead of just finding new materials, what happens when you use the old materials to create the new is you repurpose them. You help clear the old energy so that it's not just stagnant and lying around to be picked up by the next soul or the next being. It's like you get brownie points, bonus points, for using the mess to make the new. Recycle, spiritual recycling. When you use the old, you neutralize the effects of the past, rather than walking away and just kind of leaving it there. Because there's no way to really leave it there. There's only one here. So if you're leaving something somewhere, that means it's still in here, because it's all one. You can't just leave a mess. There's no brushing it under the rug. There's no actual rug here, okay? So don't just walk away from your old life, but really look at it, learn from it, and make something new of it. Okay? So in order to speed up your growth process this week, it's time to let go consciously, willfully, of all those things that are just not in alignment with the new reality you're stepping into. Your ally is the chet, the gates that guard the heart, the doorway. Balance. If you really want to achieve balance, which is all of our goals. So for example, whatever you're trying to rise above, whatever lower nature you're trying to conquer, whatever vice, anger, impatience, dishonesty, whatever vice any of us is working on, we're working on it. We're working through it to get to it, the heart. We all have the same shared goal of achieving the embodiment of compassion, the all-virtuous light. Every religion, every culture across time and space teaches this. Our shared goal is to be like God, to be like the Creator, to be all-giving, to be compassionate, to be all-virtuous. And in order to be that, it requires balance. When we are in a state of balance, when our polarities are in absolute balance, then we naturally become that force of compassion and that vessel for compassion. That's how we do it. So we all have that same shared goal. So remember that if you want to reach new levels of balance, if you want to feel good, don't we all? If you want to feel harmony and contribute to a harmonious world, which we all want, then you've got to do this work. You've got to choose to focus on the vices that are holding you back and conquer them this week. Rise above them so that you can reach that level of balance you've always wanted to. And no need to fear the obstacles in the way. Get through them, let it fall away. All the work is to get to this ultimate goal of achieving balance. And remember this, the gates, when they close and they meet at the center, it's like this. The forces of polarity, masculinity and femininity, are the two forces that make up all of our reality, inside and out. These opposite forces vibrating, these polar forces operating, vibrating in opposition, right? It holds everything together. But when they're neutralized, when they're diffused, when they meet at the center, there's stillness, which can be seen as death or eternal life. Because death is an illusion. There is only eternal life. And so that is the secret of the 8, okay? The 8, balance, the chet, the gates, okay? It's like the 2 doors. Gate at the center is the heart, eternal life. When you are in a state of balance, which again, we're all trying to achieve that. Remember, that's where we're trying to get. We're trying to rise to that gate. Rise to the heart. So we all have this shared goal of balance. When you are in that state of balance, not only are you embodying compassion, you are also embodying a consciousness of immortality. So really let that sink in. The goal here is not just to eliminate vices. The goal here is not just to find balance. The goal here is also to be in your center, to be in your heart, to be shining the light of compassion so that it actually does something in our world, to be achieving a state of self-conscious immortality. Because when you rise above, when you conquer your vices, your lower nature, when you come to the gates of your heart, and when you enter your heart, and when you embody and actualize the light of compassion, you are actually embodying and actualizing the light of immortality. What does that mean? It means you reverse the aging process. It means you have better health. You eliminate disease. You eliminate suffering. Not just within yourself, but within the world, because you are the microcosmic man or woman. You are a microcosm that affects the macrocosm. True. 100% science. So why are we going through this challenge this week? So that we can remember the ultimate goal, which is to come back to the heart, come back to being that vessel for compassion, come back to the remembrance of why we came here, the goal of achieving self-conscious immortality, to remember that we are eternal beings, and that when we embody and consistently hold the light of compassion, we are living in a space, in an aura of timelessness. You literally stop the effects of time. So if you can anchor in compassion, if you can really be that consistently, if you can direct all of your efforts, all of your thoughts, all of your words, and all of your actions toward this goal of being in your heart, being a force of compassion, you will also rest in a space of self-conscious immortality. And you will feel amazing. And you will be able to rise above anything. And you will move through life with the grace of God. And you will become an inspiration for everybody who crosses your path. You will become a source of inspiration for all beings. Because as you interact with the world, they get to receive that light from you. They get to witness that that is a reality, that that can really be true, that they can do that for themselves. If he can do it, or if she can do it, I can do it too. And so if you lock that in and you hold that light and you remain in balance and you emit that frequency of compassion, you glow, you're youthful. It doesn't matter what age you are. You just shine that light of immortality, and people will say, wow, how do you do that? How can I do that? How can we help the world to be more that? And we all have the same potential. You either believe it or you don't. And I challenge you to carry that belief with you always, in all moments. When you start to get down on yourself, when you start to think that I can't possibly be that light, I can't achieve that frequency of being so compassionate and remembering that my nature is eternal, I don't know how to get there. If you find yourself saying that, just remember what you would say to your friend or your sister or your brother or your mother or somebody in need. Think of a child if they're, in distress and they're suffering. What would you tell that child? That is you. Remember, that's you. We tend to come back to ourselves when we're in service. That is truly the key to continuous growth. So if you're struggling to believe in yourself, if you're struggling to come back to yourself or believe that you're worthy of this work or of this goal of coming to such a place of being an embodiment of that compassion, just be of service. It's a fast track to get there. Just be of service. In fact, when you are in the act of service, it's a shortcut because you're already embodying compassion. So right then and there, whether you realize it or not, you are embodying self-conscious immortality through the act of loving kindness that you are offering to whomever it is or to the world. So if you're struggling and you think you can't achieve this, we all can. But if you think you can't, just go out and help someone. Just go and be of service. And know that as you are doing that service and you're forgetting your own fears and your own lack of self-empowerment, all those thoughts go away because you're so busy being fully present in the act of loving kindness. And right then and there, you are a force of compassion. And you are in a space of timelessness. And so, therefore, when you are doing acts of service, you are promoting and cultivating your own health and the health of the world. When you're doing acts of service, the Creator takes care of you so that you don't even have to do the work to get there. Because the greatest work truly is service. The greatest work truly is serving others. That immediately invokes compassion, which contains all the other virtues. It's the shortcut. It's the fast track. So if you're struggling, go and help someone. Be of service. Get out of your head. Because when you get out of your head and into that act of service, you are immediately, effortlessly embodying the light of compassion and the light of immortality. Okay, so chet, gates of heaven, remember, it's within your heart. It's a state of balance that we are all seeking to achieve. And it's never over. It's a balancing act forever. Okay, but the ally is reminding us the gates are right there in your heart. That balance is right there inside of you. And that's the ultimate goal. We are here to conquer whatever parts of our lower nature are getting in the way of us coming back to ourselves, to our heart. We are no longer afraid of what needs to fall. In fact, we're going to make it fall ourselves with kindness and grace and compassion. We're going to remove those blocks, which are structures, manifestations of our own negative choices. We're ready to take responsibility for them and dismantle them so that we can create a space where we can rebuild a reality in reflection of who we truly are. A reality not just in reflection of who we truly are, but a reality that's going to help us get even clearer with the true image of who we are. That's what we want to build. Not only do we not want to build a reality that's promoting negativity, we want to build a reality that's going to pull that light out of us so that we can continuously grow with the least amount of effort, with the most grace, with the most ease. We want to set ourselves up for absolute success. All right, you guys, that was an awesome activation. I love it as always. So good. Happy new moon, new year, new beginning, new moment, here now. Thank you all for joining in this activation portal. Know that even if you didn't remember a word we said, it doesn't matter because it's active NLP. It's hypnotherapy. When we do this work, we're literally reaching into our minds and rearranging. So thank you for meeting me here, meeting all of us here every week and doing this work together. I see you and I know that you have everything you need within you to do this work, to finally once and for all conquer that lower nature, to finally once and for all remove that obstacle that you yourself put right in front of the gates of the heart. I know that you're going to do whatever it takes, and I know that you're going to be supported in that process to reach your heart, to come back to yourself, so that you can return home with more light than ever before. And we're all doing this together. If you know of anybody who could really use this message right now, please share this with them. The recording is going to go on YouTube and Instagram for those who aren't on Facebook. And they always go there, so make sure you subscribe and follow Rebecca Magic on Instagram and YouTube. And if you have a favorite group on Facebook that you want to share this with, please go right ahead. If you have any questions or there's something you want to share with me, please send it my way, private message me. We do have 2 private groups on Facebook that are some pretty amazing communities that have formed over the last couple of years. One of them is called Shabbat Crew, Shabbat Crew, and it's a group of us all over the world who celebrate or honor the ritual of Shabbat, which is every Friday night. It's a coming together of the worlds, within and without, above and below. We also share the Kabbalistic interpretation of the Torah story every week, and we sing the ancient melody of the candle lighting prayer usually every week. And then we also have another group called Royal Path on Facebook, and that's where a bunch of us gather to ask questions about tarot or about the archetypes, to share our readings or share our own perspectives, which are all coming from the archetypes. So please join our community. They are private groups, so if you want to see what's in them, just click join and we'll, of course, invite you right in because we're all family. Thank you so much for all of you who requested that I ship you my book this week. A bunch of them went out this week, so I'm really looking forward to more feedback and just hearing the ways in which my books have helped you transform. And for those of you who have been unsure if my book would be right for you, you can check out the intro on my YouTube channel. There's an introduction to my book there. Also, just want to let you know that book 1, especially, I mean really for both books, but book 1 especially, you don't need a tarot deck. You don't even need tarot cards. The book is written in a way where it gives you the ancient understanding of each of the cards as they relate to you. It gives you little bullet points so that you can understand which realizations are connected to each archetype, each part of the sequence of the story of the tarot. And it gives you at the end of every card the Hebrew letter that's connected to the card. And then of course at the end of the book, there are chapters on each of, or pages on each of the cards that give you a list of questions you might ask yourself if one of those cards is coming up. Like if you do a reading, or if you simply recognize that particular part of the story coming up for you in your life. So for example, if you're struggling with manifestation, you might turn to the questions about the magician and ask yourself those questions. And they'll help you to reflect in a way that activates your inner magician. So the book is all about activating your inner archetypal alliance. So if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to me. Yes, I do one-on-one readings for those who've been asking. Reach out to me if you're interested in a one-on-one reading. And I do have a course, a video course on the major arcanum cards. If you were interested in a particular card or interested in taking the whole course, it is available. So just reach out to me. I love you guys so much, and I'm so glad to be on this journey with you all. Shalom. Thank you.